This is question 1D from the 2018 midterm. And what we are supposed to do for this question is find Rxy. And Rxy is the resistance looking into the circuit at this point. So now, when we look at the circuit, what we see is that we have to find the equivalent resistance as shown here. So it's a combination of series and probably parallel resistances, and since they're cross-coupled with these X's, that's kind of confusing, so we need to find some systematic way of figuring out what is this actual circuit. So one technique is to label the nodes and see what's connected between them. So we see that X and Y have been labeled, so let's see about the other nodes, and we can label them. So over here we have a node, and let's call that node 1, and let's see what that node encompasses. So that node includes these conductors and this conductor going down here, and it includes these conductors. So that's all of node 1. We see a connection point down here, and we know that that is still node 1. So to avoid future confusion, let's just call that node 1 as well. Okay, and then let's go to the other point. Okay, so this is a new node, and let's call that node 2. Okay, and let's see what's covered by node 2. Okay, so we have this conductor, and we have this conductor going here, all the way here. So that's all node 2. And we see that this point here, where there's a little circle, that just denotes a connection between multiple conductors, and we'll call that node 2 as well. Okay, so now, how can we use this information? So, let's redraw the circuit. So, we have node X here and node Y here, and from node X we have the 4 ohm resistor, and then we have node 1. Okay, and at the bottom we have the 6 ohm resistor and node 2. Okay, so now let's see how these other resistors are connected. So let's look at the 30 ohm resistor, and we see that it's connected between node 1 and node 2. So what we can do is we can connect a 30 ohm resistor between node 1 and node 2. So that's 30 ohms. Let us go now to the 24 ohm resistor, and we see that it's connected between node 2 and node 1. So let us connect that resistor between node 2 and node 1. So that is a 24 ohm. And then we can continue, and we see the 20 ohm resistor is connected between node 2 and node 1. So we can just add that here. 20 ohms. Okay, that's great. So now we see that all those 3 resistors on the right hand side are in parallel, and we can find the parallel equivalent resistance for that. So let us say that that is our parallel. Okay, and what is our parallel going to be? Well, for parallel resistances, we know our equation is 1 over r parallel is equal to 1 over all of the reciprocal of all of the resistances. So 1 over 30 ohms plus 1 over 24 ohms plus 1 over 20 ohms. Okay, and then if we solve for Rp, we find that that is 8 ohms. Okay, so now let's go to our next page and draw what we know now. So we have node X, we have the 4 ohms, Then we have the parallel resistance that we found, and that was 8 ohms. And then we have the 6 ohms on the bottom. And they're all in series, okay? And we want to find our XY, okay? And that's looking in that way. So, since these resistors are in series, we can just add them up. So our XY is equal to 4 ohms plus 8 ohms plus 6 ohms, and therefore our XY is the sum of that, so that's 18 ohms. And that is a solution to this question.